Sabertooth is the yin to Wolverine's yang, originally known as Victor Creed. The history of this wild mutant with that of the Wolverine goes back a long time, a product of the Weapon X project. Just like its archenemy Sabretooth is not alien to Adamantium and other forces for which the Wolverine is notorious, but for several reasons Sabretooth is superior to the Wolverine in several ways, and most of the reasons are anatomical to better understand this. We have created today's video to get a deep insight into understanding Sabertooth anatomy better. Before getting into the content, we would like to make a very small request to our viewers. Please subscribe to our channel, like and comment on our videos, and press the bell icon to be notified when we upload new content. We would be grateful to you and hope to bring you the best nerdy content. So without further ado, let's get started right away. He has a healing ability. How does it work? Like Wolverine, who can practically heal himself and live far beyond the average human age, Sabertooth possesses an incredible healing factor. In fact, many of his mutated properties are a byproduct of his healing factor, namely his immunity to most toxins, diseases, poisons, drugs, and to some extent fatigue. From the very beginning he had the ability to regenerate his body parts, which makes him age incredibly slowly. We see that in his X-Men Origins comic, where it all starts with his brother Luther Creed's birthday. Luther has a capsule that he doesn't want to share with his brother Victor. The reason for this is Luther's birthday. The two brothers start arguing about it, and there is a physical commotion when their mother comes in to check what's going on, only to find a bloody Luther lying cold in the ground while Victor is standing over him enjoying the cake. While he shows no remorse for what he later we see Victor's father, how he pulls out his teeth with pliers, but the teeth seem to be easy to grow back again and again, much to the displeasure of his father, who believes that the constant pulling out of the teeth will one day stop the regrowth. Soon Victor will be chained in the family basement due to his devilish nature, and his mother cannot do anything about it, because she is too afraid of his father. Victor, however, soon reminds her that she does not need to be afraid of her husband, but of Victor himself. He proves himself right after a few months, when he pulls out one of the chains with his strength to free his other hand, which he can't seem to pull out. He bites, appears in front of his parents with a bloody half arm, ready to unleash his berserk rage. He murders his father and eats a cake, since it was also his brother's birthday. When we see him again, a few years have already passed. Now an adult Victor has also regrown the part of the arm. It's about this time that he meets Logan, or the Wolverine, and they start their friendship, which eventually turns into a fierce hostility between the two, although they fight very much to Wolverine's displeasure, considering that on all his birthdays he becomes Sabertooth's scapegoat. Wolverine never really manages to win against this particular opponent. His Sabertooth is physically superior in every way, even when it comes to the healing factor that follows the Weapon X program that Wolverine gave his adamantium claws. Sabertooth cut himself an adamantium skeleton. He is much taller than Logan and is better tennis in battle. Victor Creed also has this extra adrenaline, and unlike Logan, of course, he does not have a softer nature. He becomes a predator against the Wolverine. What is interesting here is how the berserk rage plays for both mutants. While Wolverine is often famous or notorious for his berserk rage, Logan is not always in this zone. Sabertooth, on the other hand, is always in his berserk mode. Canonical, there is no way for Wolverine to be physically stronger than his enemy, because the reason for Sabertooth's creation was the need to give the Wolverine to enemy who was stronger than him. You can reproduce. Although Victor Creed is not the guy who has paternal instincts, he a father while he was on a mission in Germany, where he worked as a freelance assassin. He was seduced by Mystique. She posed as a German spy around this time, and the two mutants soon became the parents of a normal human boy named Great, but Mystique gave him up for adoption while continuing to keep an eye on it. Technically, Victor Creed cannot reproduce, because he is a but yes, as we can see, he is able to have a biological child. Graydon, on the other hand, learned to despise mutants. After learning about his inheritance, Graydon had been abandoned because it was an inconvenience to have a child, and in the 4th issue of the 1993 Sabertooth comics, we see the Creed father-son duo meeting for the first time and posing as a man named Tribune Great to murder his two parents, and Sabertooth is trying to track him down with a bomb in his body waiting to detonate. Through all this, he continues to be unaware that Pilgrim, as his son Victor Creed, is working with his mutant partner Birdie, who is using her telepathic powers to keep Sabertooth's mind calm. He eventually manages to find someone who can disassemble the bomb and tears himself open with his claws to get the job done. When he meets Graydon, the latter makes it clear that he thinks Victor is an ignorant, disgusting monster, but Victor is more interested in finding out why he tried to kill him and Mystique. When Birdie arrives just then, she uses her telepathic powers to let Victor peek into Graydon's thoughts. Here Victor sees a young Graydon, who sneaked out of his boarding school to spy on Mystique, or rather his mother. Here she also tells him that she lied because his father was a bond trader because he was a wild creature that was beyond his imagination. When Victor comes out of Graydon's mind, the latter mentioned, so he has 1,000 reasons to hate mystical mutants and his own father Sabertooth. Of course Victor does not believe that Graydon is his son, at least not until Graydon kills Birdie because she is his escape valve. He does this too. Who is now alone with his own mind without Birdie to calm him down. Since Victor thinks the roundabout method is great and is used to getting his way, he finally realizes that he really could be his son. Well, how old is Sabertooth? So due to his incredible healing factor, Sabertooth is obviously way too old. Although he doesn't look canonical, he is over 200 years old. He has adamantium skeletons, yes. Since the Wolverine's archenemy Sabertooth, adamantium skeletons can stand on it. But he wasn't born with Sabertooth, and Wolverine were captured by Apocalypse, who crafted adamantium into Sabertooth's claws and skeleton while keeping him under mental control, because the adamantium would make Sabertooth much stronger. Having him as a puppet was obviously a huge advantage for Apocalypse, but the upgrades didn't last long considering how Victor Creed was defeated by the Wolverine, which led to Creed removed adamantium coating from his skeleton, leaving him with immense pain. The X-Man Gambit soon became the one that freed him from his misery, as he needed Sabertooth's information and skills to track down Mr. Sinister. After Sabertooth found out about Weapons X program that gave Wolverine his adamantium claws with Sabertooth's participation, he finally got his adamantium bones and claws and hunted everyone who was important to the Wolverine, but his claws were more animalistic, while Logan's claws were more suitable for precise attacks, so that they reflected Sabertooth's wilder and rougher nature. Unlike Wolverine's more fighting style, which was a result of his martial arts training, because they have superhuman senses, this is a matter of course, considering that Sabertooth's mutation is wild and animal superhuman keen senses that allow him to see over long distances and with much better clarity than the average person. And he could even see infrared, and if he sees ultraviolet light, which is located at opposite ends of the electromagnetic spectrum, then, of course, he has a clear vision even in complete darkness, but his keen senses go beyond his eyesight. Considering that he has similar characteristics with respect to his hearing, he can hear over long distances and distinguish between sounds that ordinary people cannot hear. He can hear the sound of light and accurately determine human breathing at a distance of 200 feet. This is complemented by a superior sense of smell, which allows him to track his goals based on their smell, just like animals. The sense of smell also allows him to distinguish between perfume brands, even if they all sell the same fragrance. How smart is Sabertooth? From a mutant like him you would expect that he is stupid, because he is only about the brazen nature and berserker rage, but he is quite cunning. He attributes his intellect and wisdom to the fact that he lived for 2 centuries during this period. Not only did he regularly acquire knowledge, but he also performed various feats, such as hacking government databases and stealing classified information, which led his crimes to the fact that he was locked up in terrible prisons or escape is almost impossible. But Victor Creed always managed to escape without much effort. More importantly, although he always managed to get on Logan's nerves with his words alone, he is immortal, so he is immortal in terms of life. Without that, he's not really aging and immune to disease, but somehow he gets killed by the Wolverine at some point during the Weapon X comic book series. In terms of biological nature, Wolverine's father is Thomas Luke, while on paper his father John Howlett created a wonderful judgment to mirror the Wolverine. Sabertooth is very similar to his archenemy in terms of anatomy. The difference is in their psychology, since Logan has a strong moral compass and holds on, while Victor Creed has little sense of morality and willingly refuses everything to give into his animal nature with it. Today's video is coming to an end. What do you think of Sabertooth? Did you like this video? If so, do not forget to like and comment on this video. Until then, goodbye and have a nice